would go back and make it exactly how I wanted it.
So, who would you say is your biggest supporter?
My wife was my biggest supporter before I got the book published, but she doesn't read. So, like, after I got it published, she's like, well, congratulations. And now she's kind of like, what are you going to do now? But there's one of my friends out in Arizona. She's watched all these interviews, and she said she's read the book. I don't know if she has, or she started. I'm not sure if she's finished it, but probably her. So, and I have other friends they've read it, they've given me feedback, but I don't want people to think like my wife doesn't support me, because she does, but she's also my wife, so she needs me to do stuff around the house. So a lot of times she's like, well, you can do your writing, but do it later.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Because I was rejecting love, you know what I mean? But I wanted to keep myself, I was trying to defend my identity of being the victim. So if I get love, there's no way I can be the victim.
Roll me, Mac.
How have life priorities changed over time? I want to say that the early part of my adulthood, I won't go all the way back to childhood, but the early part of my adulthood was trying to validate all the childhood desires. So it was all about me. Everything was about the ego. It was about proving that I was an adult, proving that I could stay out this late, proving that I could buy whatever I wanted, proving that I could go wherever I wanted, proving I could do whatever I wanted in some cases. But all in all, it was unfulfilling, you know what I'm saying? And essentially that's what I would describe the first part of adulthood. So like coming into the Air Force and getting into relationships, really just one. Well, I came in one, left it cowardly, got into one right after that, and that was my official beta tail, is what I like to call that experience right there. But everything that I was doing, I put everything that I saw on television, in the movies, what the guy does to get the girl type shit, and I was completely clueless. And it was still about me. I was making it about me because this is my ideology of how to get this girl. I wasn't studying my opponent in the sense of like what the ways to love her. I was trying to love her the way I wanted to be loved. You know what I'm saying? It was a difference with that. And so priorities were more about, I wanted to be there for everybody, but I was doing it for me because I wanted to have that claim to fame that I was super nigga or Superman or whatever, you know what I'm saying, shit you want to come up with. I was that guy, you know what I'm saying, that you could turn to. It was narcissism, hands down, part of my narcissism, and just it being solely about me and wanting to appear more than human, to try to overcome for the neglect that I felt in childhood. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying so hard to be seen, heard, loved, and I was willing to go to many lengths to do it. I was willing to do things that I had no business doing, situations that I got myself in that I didn't know how to get out. And it was a learning lesson, definitely a learning lesson, but that was like that first phase. That first phase was like ego. Okay, that's the first phase of ego, because ego is present in all of these phases that I'm about to share with the class. And so the first part was trying to validate the childhood desires, right? The second part was making myself look like the victim, you know, as far as what was done to me in childhood, what was done to me by family, what was done to me by this girl, what was done to me by the world. You know what I mean? And I would call that phase, this is the Miami days. Miami time frame was more about I'm the victim. You know what I mean? Like it's people did shit to me, and that's the reason why I'm the way that I am. You know what I mean? And I took it out on people that came to me with kindness. Some of them came to me with kindness. Some of them came to me that got what they fucking earned in return. But a lot of people came at me in kindness, and I gave them fear in return, which was rude, because I was rejecting love, you know what I mean? But I wanted to keep myself, I was trying to defend my identity of being the victim. So if I get love, there's no way I can be the victim. You know what I mean? So I was going to do everything in my power to defend this identity that I do not deserve love. You know what I mean? I was going to maintain this ideology, and anything that tried to do so that I wasn't used to, the love that I saw coming up was I saw love out of pain. You know what I mean? I didn't see any healthy love coming from coming up. You know what I'm saying? So like love to me is like, I put food on the table for you. You know what I'm saying? I got you the toys that you wanted. You know what I mean? That type shit. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like the emotional available love, what the fuck is that? But like that phase was just about being the victim. It really was. It really was about being the victim. And before I knew it, I was on an island. It was just me. And it's not like the next phase after the Miami days, you know what I'm saying, where I wanted to be on this island. This island in particular, this first island right here, this is like Jurassic Park, you know what I'm saying, the first island we go to. This is the one where I didn't want to be on an island, but I kept pushing everybody away. Okay, so it was about being the victim. See, I told you they was gonna leave me, abandon me type thing. Victimhood, you know what I'm saying? You know that the ego is present when you're on top of the world or the world's on top of you. And that's how you know when the ego is present in your life, and that you gotta laugh at yourself. You gotta have ego deaths like nobody's business. And so it brings me to the third phase, which is COVID. Unfortunately, COVID humbled the shit out of a lot of us, but definitely humbled the shit out of me and allowed me to see a lot of things within myself, within my family, within my friend group, the family that I created, you know, in the military and post-military days too, as far as like who actually will show up for you. You know what I'm saying? Who has it in them that knows how to show up. That feeling of the love, like the family that you get to choose, and drawing a line in the sand with the family that you didn't get to choose, as far as like, all right, which members actually are being family oriented with you and which ones are just doing it out of convenience for the particular occasion. And that's, you know, it's no ill will or anything like that. That's just how life has become for a lot of us. And on this island, what I've learned is like through all the mental health and spirituality stuff. So my priorities in this phase is still ego based, but it's managing the ego in the sense of having ego deaths and not projecting me onto others, and learning to be alone, like in a healthy way, not the toxic way of like, I say I want to be alone, but I got this girl that's around me because I'm afraid to be alone. And then I don't want to be abandoned by this individual. So I'm taking on the toxic traits in which she displays, which reminds me of some of the stuff that I saw in my childhood. So I'm recreating the nest outside of the home. And once I learned the power of walking away, there was something that grew in me you know what I'm saying, that I was not prepared to know as a superpower, and knowing that I'll be okay by myself, if indeed that's the choice that's left for me, because it's not that I don't love you, it's that I love me more, and that I'll protect my peace over anything. If I feel like there's more, I'm putting in more, you know what I'm saying? If I believe that this effort here is being taken for granted, then I am going to be a magician. I'm going to disappear. I'm going to put my efforts into me. I know I'll appreciate it, you know what I'm saying? But I also know, again, what I've gone through, what I've been able to make it through to get to where I am right now. So this phase, I would say, the current phase is more about knowing that you can make it on your own, and having that confidence, be it ego, just the soul, living in the soul, and that you don't have to entertain personalities that love the way you treat them but doesn't necessarily love you. You know what I'm saying? And I had to see the difference in that, like who values you and who just values the way you make them feel. And it was eye-opening, you know, to find out who was who, if you will. And again, it's merely just my perspective at the time, because perspectives shift through like the perspective I had in the first phase of my life is not the same perspective that I have in the third phase, the current phase that I'm in. So I will say like the third one of my adult life. But I'm learning a lot. I've learned a lot, and I'm learning so much about myself and how I want to protect my peace, how I want to protect myself. So I am just grateful for experiences, no matter how long they last. Things happen for, people come into your life for seasons, people come into your life for a lifetime. There's plenty of leaves will come in your life, and it's very few roots, you know? And life will show you who's the root, who are the leaves, you know what I'm saying, in the tree that will blow away, you know what I'm saying, that will fade once the season changes, you know what I'm saying, and you have to accept it, amor fati. You know, it doesn't always go the way you want it to go. Sometimes it goes as the universe designates it to be. So it's just about acceptance, and sometimes it's tough. It's time to accept that shit. But nevertheless, I love this phase that I'm currently in. It's teaching me a lot about myself. It's teaching me a lot about others. It's teaching me a lot about humans, period. So, and to have grace, because everybody is battling something that we don't know about, right? And and it's just having grace for what they didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then hopefully somebody has grace for what I don't know, if you will. But I mean, that's how life has, my priorities have changed throughout my life through those particular phases. I hope they all make sense. If not, rewind it until it does, and know that everything I'm speaking is coming from the motherfucking heart. What's a lesson your inner child taught you that you can benefit from in the present? To turn pain into comedy. I think that's probably something that would be beneficial right now, because we're at a very crucial stage in life. As we get older, we start losing people. Well, not losing people. The people get returned to the universe, be it through, you know, however it goes, whether it's cancer, whether it's There's natural causes, whether it's car accidents, whether it's murder or whatever it is, you know. And we're not necessarily prepared for the ramifications of dealing with the return of those people, because we never had them. They were never ours to possess. Love is about appreciation and not possession. In my mind, I have to teach myself that on a day-to-day basis, especially when the inner child really comes out. I just try to be that kid again that could make a, you know, that can turn his pain into comedy. Be able to make a joke out of it in my mind. I'm not gonna bring it out by the, you know, to my public. But in my head, being able to laugh at a lot of the shit that was sent to destroy you, if you will. Perspective, right? Test you, challenge you, whatever your synonym is for the particular situation. I look at it from multiple lenses, and just that kid right there, he could take some of the toughest situations and press the fuck through. Find a way to turn it into humor, turn it into comedy, something that was healing, if you will. And another thing, just watching comedy too, watching a lot more comedy these days. Back in the day, I used to watch comedy a lot, and then I think I switched up to be accepted, because it's like, damn, all you watch is comedy. And I didn't realize that I felt really good after watching a lot of comedy, you know? So like I would watch a lot of Martin movies. I would watch a lot of Eddie Murphy, Jim Carrey. I would watch Wayans Brothers shows, Fresh Prince, Martin, Jamie Foxx show, and just comedy on multiple levels. In Living Color, Def Comedy Jam, Mad TV. Never that SNL shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm anti-SNL to the highest degree. And even if I'm ever on there as a guest host or something like that, I will let them know exactly how I felt. You know what I mean? I gotta be honest with them. I just felt like In Living Color was funnier and had more depth. Now, I give it to SNL for longevity, much respect to that, but that's where it stops, you know, because In Living Color it was before its time, and you had to be there to really appreciate what was done on that show and what it meant to us growing up, you know, trying to be aspiring comedians at a very young age, and just wanting to make people laugh and trying to find your place in the family. So comedy kind of gave me that. But I know that comedy is something that I could use for a lot of things when life gets too overwhelming, and sometimes pulling yourself back, detaching from what's before you, believing that, you know, you were so close, and you're too attached, right, to a situation, and having to pull yourself back and look at it from a detached point of view, and just look at the situation and like, am I responding from the inner child, or am I responding from the soul? And the inner child obviously is the ego. It's never enough, you know, it never feels like it's enough. And being able to analyze it to the best of my ability to make the best decision going forward on what's best for me. And you know, it's challenging. It's very challenging at times, but I'm built for this shit. So on that island, you know, like living on that island, as I spoke of, the chosen island, it comes with its advantages and disadvantages. I believe that my inner child, where commonly it's like, what would, you know, older you say to younger you, or some shit like that. I wanted to do it in reverse, you know what I'm saying? Take another stab at it from where the inner child is kind of like the voice of reason versus the adult. And what I see from my inner child looking back is comedy. Comedy was something that my inner child was very close to and made him feel at home. So it's just something that I will do my best to kind of keep in mind and doing, and moving forward, staying close to comedy. What was your favorite place in the house growing up? My favorite place in the house growing up, it depends. Early on, I used to love being in my parents' room. I don't know what it is about using your parents' bathroom or being on your parents' bed. You just feel like their shit better than yours. And was too. Motherfuckers, I appreciate you though, mommy, daddy. But like being able to go into, especially during the summers, going into their room while they were at work, watching music videos, because I had to stay in the house with my little brother before I could go outside and play basketball or whatever, chase girls, go to the pool, whatever we were doing at that age. But yeah, I really like to go into my parents' room and watch whatever movies, and then plus USA used to play a lot of movies. Basketball, that's back when basketball was big. They played that shit out on whatever network it was, but basketball used to play all the time. The creators of South Park, when they had that little basketball type shit that they came up with, it was funny. You know, it's just that's like one of the movies you watch as like kids and shit. A lot of Adam Sandler movies, The Water Boy, Big Daddy. They used to watch those a lot. But a lot of music videos, like literally just studying, like, what are we gonna wear going back to school? You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember seeing the More Money, More Problems video, and I was like, I'm gonna get me a red New York Yankees hat like that someday. You know what I'm saying? And I had one like they had in the music video, but this has always been like my favorite. To me, that was always like my favorite hat, was the red Yankees hat. And yeah, it was cool. And then as I got older, I was, being on the phone and shit in my room and playing music on my keyboard. So it would just be me and my little brother, like singing and shit, in my room. And then be downstairs too. Like, we used to watch Shrek a lot on DVD. And then he used to put on that Harry Potter shit. Yeah, he used to watch Harry Potter a lot. I used to fall asleep on that shit, but that's just showing, my age. But yeah, those are the places that, my favorite places in the house growing up, living with my parents. What's something you do to build confidence when life takes a toll on you? Something I do to build confidence, honestly, I listen to a lot of motivational speeches in the morning, because that's commonly when the darkness hits me. I don't want to get out of bed. I just, I'm trapped at times. The gym is something also that helps build the confidence. The dopamine that I get when I hit the gym, whatever else was going on prior to that day, it didn't fucking matter. It's a sanctuary. It's definitely a place that I go to fellowship with myself and obviously whoever else is in the gym. But the gym is a place where I definitely get that confidence, more muscle you put on, and just being in the moment, right? Just being at one with the gym, not allowing anybody to interfere. My phone is on do not disturb when I'm in the gym. Yeah, I won't be, I'm not the guy that's on his phone while trying to do a set or something like that. I find it to be annoying, especially when I'm trying to get in and out. That's what she said. And but I mean, it's not about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's experience at the gym is different. Some people like to go in there and take selfies of themselves, you know what I'm saying, to feel good about themselves. Again, building confidence. I love the dress. I love fashion. Fashion is another thing that helps me build confidence, if you will. Another thing that helps me build confidence is having conversations with those that I value in my life, people I've known for the longest. It's so weird, not weird, but it's very mystical about the universe. There'll be times where I'm just feeling my ego's getting the best of me. It's eating at me. And then I'll have a talk with my best friend T-Dot and everything just aligns. You know what I'm saying? Like when we talk, it'd be brief. You know what I'm saying? She'll share something, what's going on, whatever she got going on. And we'll be in a very similar situation. And when we talk about it, it all makes sense. It all meshes together. And we're able to draw understanding from our own confusion, if you will. Like, because sometimes, you know, the doctors make the worst patients, figuratively. You know what I'm saying? Not a doctor by any means. I'm not taking credit for anything. But, you know, somebody that people tend to turn to for understanding of certain parts of, I don't know, life. I'm not just mental health or spirituality, just life itself. But then when you're in your own shit, it's like all that shit goes out the way. All the emotion, you can have all the emotional intelligence in the world. And I was sharing with her about myself with when it comes to like just overall life, I got that shit handled. You know what I'm saying? Like I can get an understanding of what that is. When it comes to matters of the heart, I'm not emotionally immature. I'm just not as mature emotionally as I would intend to be at that particular moment based off of how I was responding. And it's just weird, like all that shit goes out the window. We're laughing at each other because like all that shit seems to go out the window when we're in these moments because we're not used to healthy love. You know, we didn't grow up seeing healthy love. So there's fear, you know, and you're not able to live in love and fear at the same time. You can only live in love, you know what I'm saying? And I know for sure that fear gets the best of me when it comes to matters of the heart because of what is deemed normal to me in toxicity. You feel me? So I will like tolerate certain behaviors on a normal basis that's not necessarily good for me. So I am hypersensitive, hyper protective over what I allow myself to do. And I am no tolerance. I have no tolerance when it comes to, you know, any form of disrespect. You feel me? So I try to ask myself, am I overreacting or am I just reacting? You know, as finding the balance between the two. Having I got on a tangent again, but having conversations with people that I value in my life bring confidence to me. Because it brings me to understanding what I'm going through, and I'm just as human as everybody else. But a lot of times you can get so full of your ego, you forget that you're human. And then life has a way of humbling the shit out of you. And then you learn to have grace. Learn to have grace because everybody's fighting a battle that you don't know anything about. They've been fucked over too. So they don't know. They don't know if you're trying to get over on them. They don't know if you're trying to be kind. They question why you're being kind. I know me. I know that's what I did. And that's what I do sometimes. But it's learning. It's a learning lesson. And, you know, every day is a classroom. Every day is a lesson. Every day is a blessing. Every day is stressing. Perspective, though, you know, what you allow to get to you. That's just really what it is. It's like what you allow to get to you, because no one's making you do anything. No one's making you mad. You're choosing to be mad. Anger is a choice response. And as much as I don't want to take my own advice of other mentors that have shared that same rhetoric, I have to take it. I take it more fati as much as possible, knowing that it's just taking things as it is, not what you want it to be. But what else builds confidence? Little tasks. Completing little tasks builds confidence. You know what I'm saying? So like writing out daily goals tend to make me feel confident. And I do my best to try to complete those throughout the day. And for the most part, I do. I mean, I've made like checklists. I made a few checklists years ago that I just look at on a day-to-day basis, at daily affirmations, a daily schedule, a weekly schedule. And when I'm able to complete these things, it's like, okay, bam, I did that. So that confidence builds within. But I mean, a lot of those things, all those things really play a part in finding confidence when life has you on the ropes, or you're perceiving life to have you on the ropes. That's why one of the greatest superpowers that we can ever take on is indifference. You don't have to, an event can just be an event. You don't have to have a thought on the event. It can just happen, but our egos just has to have an explanation as to why this happened, or, feeling bad about this, feeling good about this, like you're wanting to be a part of this. You attach yourself to the thought when it can just pass. It can just go through. So I'll do my best to practice what I preach, learn from, my many mentors, and get back into reading too. Need a reset. So probably time to watch or listen to the Four Agreements again. But essentially that's what I would say that I do to kind of build confidence whenever life has me on the ropes. What's the toughest thing about love that you have to accept? The toughest thing about love that you have to accept is that I believe that I have to accept is that it's not about possession. It's not. It's literally about appreciation. It's like the individual that you profess love for is not responsible for your insecurities. They're not responsible for how you perceive something to be. Like, you don't get to speak for them. You don't get to speak for their actions. You just have to accept. And I think that there's this idea of love, right? Instead of learning how, you're having an expectation. You're playing this movie out because of the pain of which you've grown up in. You believe you grew up in, you know what I'm saying? You've interpreted as pain. And it's like, something's got to be better than this, and that there's this perfect idea of what love is and what it means to you. And when the person doesn't have the script, and then they fuck up their lines that they don't know is in the script, you as the director get pissed off in your mind, and you feel betrayed, you feel had, you feel like it's not going the way you expected it to do. So there's that thing, expectations, entitlement, ego that creeps in when you're human, because like, it's all fun and games until love is involved, right? And when love is involved, that's when things have more meaning to them. And the shit that used to be funny is no longer funny. The things you used to feel like you could live without, they become scarce in your mind, and it becomes challenging, right? It becomes really, really challenging. And then abandonment that you're used to creeps into your head. Mind you, you're battling all of that inside your own head. It doesn't exist outside of your mind, but your mind will have you believing shit is real, and it's trauma, it's truly trauma. Trauma has a way of making things be perceived as a real movie when it was solely just a a perceived thought, very much a perceived thought, and we feel like it's better to it's better to be by yourself and not even try than to see if your heart works, right? Maybe it breaks, maybe it doesn't, but acceptance though, accepting that it doesn't go according to script, it just is, and it's an action word. You don't get to decide how a person loves. You don't. How you love is not the way another person loves. But in your movie, what they're doing is not love to you. And it freaks you the fuck out, right? So it's learning. It's learning to quiet the inner child. Quiet the child that was tortured. It might be extreme, but the one that was traumatized. Some of us tortured, but in this case, just trauma. The inner child was traumatized. It was made to believe that this was the movie. It was going to be a love story, and then it turns into a horror story. And that horror story gets very reminiscent when certain things happen. And you're like, I've seen this film before. I've directed this film. Well, I was a part of this film, but now, because of fear and trauma, I'm trying to direct the film of life. And you don't get to act out everybody's parts. It's a reality show without a script. It's literally just, we're a part of this thing and we're figuring shit out. And sometimes shit gets kind of challenging. It gets really, really challenging when it comes to love. And it's easy to focus on your goals and your purpose. And it's helpful. Don't get me wrong, especially for men, like as far as a survival thing, because I stand by the fact that we're loved based off what we can do. We have to provide something. We have to have resources of some sort in order to be respected and loved. And for me, love is about respect. So you gotta constantly move and make shit move, and keep creating empires and things. But I really believe that that's one of that's like the toughest thing, is acceptance, right? Acceptance and unconditional love. And unconditional love means that however they love is how you're going to learn to love them. And studying them and what makes them feel love, right? And there are days where you question this shit. You question, the feeling that you have. And I'm not even just talking from intimacy, and we're talking family and learning to remove the labels, right? Learning to remove the labels when it comes to love. Like, you're my mom, so you're supposed to do in my movie. You're my girlfriend, so you're supposed to do in my movie. You're my boyfriend, so this was what I had planned for you to do in my movie. They're also directing a movie too. Their movie, you know what I'm saying? And that's the part that gets confusing, because you're trying to film two movies on the same set. Two different directors, two different creative minds, two different attitudes towards life, for that matter. And it makes it challenging, right? Trying to run the three-legged race, right? And the three-legged race, we all gotta be on the same step, or we're gonna fall. And oftentimes we do. Some people get up and try to learn how to walk. Others fall and be like, I guess it just ain't for me. And fear teaches that. Fear teaches us to, I fucked up, so I guess I have to start over. You know, I'll do this another day. But it's I believe it's more rewarding in the end once you figure out how this thing operates, right? And it wasn't meant to be easy. And the interesting part is like when you do open yourself to like a form of love, you recognize a lot of parts about you that are unhealed, and parts of you that require healing from yourself. It's not anything anybody else can do. It's something that you have to do within your own mind. So, you know, I think some of the toughest things about love is a few of those things that I've shared. And even in this moment, talking about it, it has allowed me to see things in various perspectives whenever I find myself challenged by the means of the soul. You know, I do my best to operate from the soul than the ego, but my ego is big. I got a very, very big ego, and it's tough to manage at times because it's, you know, it's all built from the trauma, and it was created to protect me from something that I thought I needed protection from. So, yeah, let's look at it as a life lesson. But I mean, those are the things that I found to be toughest thing to accept about love. And yeah, maybe it helps somebody look at it from another perspective as well. But that's it. Good night, kids.